So it is a AI powered language model which is developed by a company known as OpenAI. Now OpenAI is a non-profit AI research organization that is founded with the goal of promoting and developing friendly AI in the way that could benefit humanity as a whole. Now ChatGPT is based on GPT. What that is? That is generative pre-trained transformer architecture and has been trained on large amount of data to generate human-like text in response to the prompt that we provide. So that's the whole crux behind ChatGPT, in which we humans would provide them certain sort of prompts, the things that we want the computer to answer, and in the text-based form, since it's a text-based model, so it will give us results in a text-based format. So now let's just dissect the term GPT. What does it mean in a more technical way? So now GPT stands for Generative Pre-trained Transformer, right? So it is a type of artificial intelligence that can generate a text. So it does this by being trained on massive amounts of data. So once it's trained, it can be used to generate new text by simply starting with the prompt and letting the model predict the next word. So I'll be giving you a hands-on of this tool, how it works in a more simplistic way so that you get more comfortable with using ChatGPT as a tool. So the examples of what it can do, it can generate poems, it can write codes, scripts, musical pieces, emails, letters, and much more, right? Now it has a special ability to translate text from one language to the other, right? So for example, if you're in a new country, you want it to give it in a way of the language in whichever country you are, right? So it can translate that text for you. Now it can answer questions about a variety of topics. Now this has been trained till September 2021. So all the amount of data or all the knowledge that it possesses is till September 2021. So after that, it has not been trained to that kind of data, right? What else it can do? It can summarize text that is there for you. Can rephrase various text in the tone you want. Like for example, if you want a formal polite tone of any of the sentences, it will give you in that regard. It can rephrase your emails in a much more better, attractive looking way, in a more catchy way, right? So all these things a GPT model can do, right? So what does ChatGPT mean? What is the behind? What is the rationale behind introducing this transformer, and what are the steps in which it trains? Right? How does it evolve? Right? What are the training? What are the steps involved in which it understands what we are talking about? Right? So the first part is training GPT. Now GPT is trained using a process called generative pre-training. So what happens in this is, in generative pre-training, the model is given large corpus of text and is asked to predict the next word in the sequence, right? So Ram is going to do dash. So now it has to predict what it is, right? So this is how it works. Next word prediction comes the first step in training the GPT, right? So now this process is repeated a lot of times, over and over again, right? On in the sentences that we give them, as we are generating a lot of data that is all over on the internet, right? So it trains on those data sets that are there, right? So the model learns to predict the next word with increasing accuracy. It takes a lot of time for it to understand, to get trained, but once it gets trained, it's very less to making errors in that regard. Then is splitting the data set. Now the data set is split into two parts. Number one is the training data set, number two is the test data set. Now the training data set is used to train the GPT model, and the test set is used to evaluate the GPT model. The test set is not used to train the model, so it can be used to measure the model's accuracy on the data that it has not seen. Something that new comes up, it gets used to that. The third step is training the GPT model, right? Now the GPT model is trained using a technique called supervised learning. So in supervised learning, the model is given a set of input data and set of output data. So the model learns to map the input data to the output data. So in case of GPT, the input data is a sequence of words and the output data is the next word in that sequence, right? So this is how it develops itself. This is how it grows itself. Now evaluating the GPT model. Now this step, the GPT model is evaluated on the test set. The accuracy of the model is measured by the percentage of times the model has predicted the correct next word in the sequence. Now then comes the fine tuning of the GPT, right? So the GPT model can be fine tuned on a specific task. The fine tuning is a process of adjusting the model's parameters to improve its performance on a specific task. For example, GPT can fine tune to generate text, fine tune to translate the languages, and answer some very generic questions that it can get from a day-to-day basis. Now, the GPT model can be used to generate text, translate languages, answer the various questions, and perform certain tasks, right? So, the model can be used to generate the human like text, translate text from one language to the other, answer various questions about a variety of topics, and summarize those texts.